Welcome to my YouTube channel. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Let's start the topic of humanity's need for prophethood. Part number 19, the Prophet's Message. The moral and intellectual greatness of the message brought by the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, namely the Qur'an and Sunnah, his prophetic example, testifies to its truth, as Plato famously argued in his triad of transcendental values. Truth, beauty, and goodness are inseparable. In that sense, appreciating the inherent purity and beauty of the Islamic lifestyle not only attracts us to its message, but also confirms the legitimacy of its final prophet as a messenger from the divine. The message can also vouch for the prophethood of Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by way of its alignment with the message of other prophets on fundamental creedal points. The Old Testament argues that the teachings of a prophet are what reveal his true identity, and also warns that even if someone is able to predict the future, they are still a false prophet. If they call to worshiping other gods, a person can also marvel at the sheer volume of what has been documented of Muhammad's, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, brief ministry from 610 to 632 CE. The Quran and Sunnah cannot be compared with the Bible, for instance, since the latter does not solely contain the teachings of Moses, but rather is an aggregated historical canon, whose development spanned centuries considering the quality of its substance and breadth of its scope. What the Prophet ﷺ taught continues to distinguish itself as a message of exceptional depth and value. It defined people's relationships with their Maker, with those around them, even with animals and inanimate objects, and provided timeless wisdom about everything related to their individual and collective well-being. From there, one may be drawn to consider its internal consistency, the harmony of such a comprehensive corpus that informs theology, spiritual enlightenment, individual virtue, interpersonal behavior, civil laws, and foreign policies with such intricacy that led many throughout history to find it miraculous. They saw this facet of the final message as beyond human sophistication, and more reasonably a balancing act that could only be attributable to God's perfect nature. Finally, the profundity of the message becomes further evident when contrasted with other religious doctrines that waned in the face of criticism or simply with the passage of time. In our technological age, which has facilitated the globalization of ideas and fact-checking, far more people leave Christianity than Islam in Europe and North America. Islam's growth, despite its many detractors, on the other hand, continues to demonstrate its inherent veracity as well as its universality across time and place, being viable for people of very different educational, economic, and cultural backgrounds. The laws of Islam, as well as its religious doctrines, also continue to endure, while no society has been able to devise a comparable, ever-relevant system that offers equilibrium and holistic well-being to people of all walks of life. This chapter will showcase 10 highlights of this message, focusing on those more easily appreciated by people in the 21st century. These dimensions should help us appreciate the message of the final prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in its totality, as they form a cumulative case in defense of his prophethood. Thanks for watching this video. Be ready for the next video. Like, share, and subscribe my YouTube channel.